Emma's Universe podcast.
Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here?
Emma's Universe podcast.
Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here?
Emma's Universe podcast. Hello and welcome to Emma's podcast. So in today's podcast, I feel a little bit inspired. Well, I'm always inspired every single day. So nothing new but the rainbow on that, isn't it? But let's talk about inspiration and let's talk about our dreams, our life purpose. Because quite often people are afraid to really embrace their dreams. They will, think about it, dream about it, but what most people are, they're afraid to, you can name it, but go and claim it because it's meant to be for you. Our journey of 1,000, the journey of 1,000, I've been calling this for several years, and I know other people have picked up on that word. The journey of 1,000, it's the journey of transformation, but it's going into our life purpose, going into what do we have to do in our lives to really go about our journey. Our journey is unique. Are we all going to work a 9-to-5 jobs? No, not everybody are going to do that. Most people will, and others won't, because we are called in for our life purpose. It's like being able to be behind a microphone and expressing ourselves. It's being on the front of the camera or behind a camera and express and sharing our thoughts. And a lot of people are worried of, oh my God, what is everybody's going to be thinking about me? Am I going to be mocked because I truly believe in myself, because I want to live my dreams that most people will never understand? Or what is my family or my close friends are going to be judging me about it? Well, if you give your powers away like that, you're never going to go anywhere, or you're going to be afraid and you're never going to be able to express yourself. I would say living a life in almost authentic way is one of the scariest things for everybody. When I was young, let's go back to our inner childhood. I always had dreams. My dreams were my basically safety net compared to the reality I was in. That reality wasn't mine. That reality was my parents' reality. They were my grandparents' reality. So if you're looking down through the lineage, I was just the recipient of all of this. Now you can be a curse breaker, and curse breaker is basically becoming to your own self. It's not a specific curse and you may think about it. It's every thought that your lineage was thinking. Maybe a lack of money, maybe a lack of food, maybe a lack of self-esteem, maybe a lack of living their dream to the fullest. Those are what we call the curse breaker. That's mean free yourself and really fly away, walk away from what was to where you're building your own path. Is it an easy journey? No, because I got reminded today I'm attending a very interesting class since last week, and I'm going to be recording something for that specific class because we're talking about breakthrough, but also realizing the first week when I was there, that's what I'm going to explain. I felt like, well, okay, that's nice, that's cute, but this is not where I'm at right now. I'm not in a place where they started at the beginning, and I'm like, I'm not there. So I was kind of, I'm not going to say bored, but I wasn't interested because been there, done that, not interested to go backwards, but I'm moving forwards. And for the past weekend, I could have catch up on those classes, but I did not. I had other things to do, but also I said, well, let's give it a break and see what we're going to do. And Monday shows up. We are Monday. And I'm recording today. I've been recording a lot of podcasts for the past few days. It's like the universe finally we're back in business here, and just like let it out, Emma, let it out. It's time to go back to your one of your favorite little delight to do, and which is my podcast. I love to express and to share a few word of wisdom as well for whomever needs it. Actually, back to the class. So I gave myself a break yesterday, Sunday. Said, okay, no workout, which is nice because I'm learning to do not work out every day. I'll give myself one day, one break. Say, I'm like, okay, we're gonna go back today. Monday for the class. Had to do a few things, and I was talking to the universe, and I'm like, universe, I need some clarity about a couple of things to the direction of where I want to go, blah blah blah, and went back to the computer afterwards, and I said, okay, I'm going to start to go through to continue and finish week 1 from the class. And God behold, that's the case to said. Universe is hilarious, actually. I opened the module and I was just in awe because it was talking about the different stage where we are. One of them is the dark night of the soul, which been there, done that. The one last year was, I think, it was the worst one because I've gone through the dark night of the soul a few times when I needed to shift and change the course of my life. But this one was the most epic one that I would say wasn't the prettiest one, but only few people survived this one because that was that tough. However, we're not gonna be dwelling on that. That happened, and it's called life. But I was just curious about what was the different stage. The next one was clarity, and I'm like, I started to laugh. I'm like, universe, I ask you a question. You just answer me an hour later or something like that. And I'm having a conversation because I have daily conversation with the universe. I know people say, oh, she's crazy. No, I'm not. Nobody is crazy. You can talk to the universe. The universe always answers back. But it was very interesting. So going through that modules and the next one, and it was just like, holy crap, this is exactly what I was looking for and getting some answers. Now, I just spent 2 hours for the class because there is a live class today as well, which was even more amazing and feeling really centered at this level. But it was very interesting to look at the transformation, to go back and look at where I'm at in that big map and how close am I to the goal? And I am in that goal, actually. So when you think about your own self, when you think about the creativity, when you think about the journey you're going through, and the fact that I always said, I do not like to be told what to do, which is the truth. I do not like to be told what to do. That's always been one of the hardest things for me, is to have a boss above me who basically didn't have the clear vision, neither the full overall picture of the situation or the department or whatever, because they were more looking into themselves than they were aware of how do we play with that department, with my team, how do we navigate with other teams and make it successful. That to me has always been the hardest part, is to deal with people who were not open enough to do that. Now, something that came across today again, because I absolutely love Steve Jobs, and I never met him, but I think I know that guy because this is someone who I would have been taking a lot of cue from him if I were met him during his lifetime. But he's a true inspiration for one thing. One, people hated his guts because they had a lot of false conception about who he was. But he was an honest individual and very grounded. And I saw something that came across that was the CEO of Starbucks when he told that CEO to fire his entire management team, his leadership team. And he was right. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm going to keep the cough in there too because I can. And the reason he told him that, because he was able to see what works and what doesn't work. I always said the cancer start at the top. It doesn't start at the bottom. No, 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 no. It starts at the top. So if the CEO, if the president of a company is incapable to give clear direction and being able to put everybody accountable because oh, we're going to do this, we're going to slash this, slash that. But if you don't have the right people underneath of you, how are you going to be successful? I love the fact that Steve Jobs told that CEO, and the CEO recognized from Starbucks, recognized he was right. And I'm like, well, yeah, if your team is not the right one, what are you going to do? I have seen it in small companies. I have seen it in big companies, and people were not in the right place. Not because I wanted their title. I could care less because that wasn't my job. But observing then those individuals that climbed the corporate ladders had bigger eyes than stomach. They were not prepared to lead team. They were not capable to lead team properly. It takes to be a leader. I always said, and people always said, you have to be a leader. The best leader in the world are the ones who are natural born leaders. You got the natural born leaders, and you got the others. You got 3 categories in my book, whatever you want to argue with this one. You have the natural born leaders, that those guys don't need anything. They're leading. This is who they are. And you got the second category where you can teach people to become a leader. They are teachable. You can like a clay, you can shape them to become leaders. Okay, but they have to be open to do it. And you got the last one who basically leading their life by their ego. I want a title. That's what I want. I want that title, but like I said to people, you're born the way you're born naked, you're going to leave naked no matter what. Your title doesn't mean anything when you cross over, okay? That's your ego. So if you're ego driven, then you're not going to go anywhere except hitting the wall. It's like some individuals that want so badly, and I've seen it. I have seen it so many times. They want to have that title so bad. They have it, but they cannot go anywhere. They're stuck where they are, and they are not happy because they're realizing and their ego is going to make them feel threatened by everybody. They're going to try to do lateral move or ladder move up, and they can't. They are stuck where they are. You have to understand who you are. You have to understand and be honest with yourself. And I know it's easy to amplify or modify or make ourselves look better than we are, blah, blah, blah. But be honest with your own self. Be authentic. Am I capable to be a good leader? If not, what can I do to improve that? There is no shame on taking classes. There is no shame to be coached, actually, to become better. It's not an insult. It's an opportunity. A lot of companies offer that. When people are so eager to, I deserve to be this. I have seen it so many times. And I have somebody amazed me when he said that to me. Then I was like, oh boy, I almost stopped my, stop on my track, and I almost made a face, which I have a very good poker face, but I was like, wow, really? You're not that good. You're not a leader. You're not a manager. You want the title because this is what you think you are, but you're not. And he wasn't working that much either. When I realized when I took over his job, because I was adding it to what I was doing, I even told, that was Joel, I'm going to drop the name Joel. I told Joel, I said, Joel, I don't know how he does in 40 hours, but I can do his job in 2 hours. So the 38 hours, I don't know what he does because it takes 2 hours to do what he's doing. So when you're looking at, I deserve this, I want this. Well, whatever you want is whatever you want. But in order to achieve this, maybe you need some support along the way. Be open for that support. Understand, am I truly a leader, or is it my ego talking to me because I want that promotion? I want more money. No shame on that. Not at all. But at least do something good for yourself. If you want to become a leader, start to go and take classes on leadership, on management, on maybe agile style. Become somebody that educate themselves and teach themselves, or others can come along the way, not teach themselves, but have people coming and teach you something so you can become a leader, a better leader. Unless if you're born a natural leaders, then they don't need to be taught anything. You can learn more and add more to your toolbox, but you don't need to be taught what most people then you want to mold into a certain shape have to learn. Learning is essential. Understanding, humility, being humble. Humility. Be humble, people. Okay? It's amazing to see and to observe people. Because one thing that most people hated with me, and still don't like, but I don't care. Like I always said, and I know that trigger a lot in some people, is that I don't care who the crap you are, from a CEO to the Pope to the cleaning person. I will treat you exactly the same way, all of you at the same level. And some people were offended because, oh, I'm a VP, so I deserve this and that. I had in the past some people who every time the VP would open her mouth, they were like, bow, stop everything. And one of them got pissed off. I had, and that was during that time of unpleasant time where I was hunted down for 48 months, for over 2.5 years, actually. It wasn't 48 months, it was 2.5 years. And so much I trigger people for some reason. And what was interesting is one day one showed up, and her name was still Jill, I believe, and showed up like scared to death. Well, you didn't answer that person. I'm like, you know what? She's next one on my list. I need to finish what I'm doing right now, and she will be handled afterwards. Well, you need to stop anyway. I say, sure, no problem. Do you really think I went and did that? No, absolutely not. She waited like everybody else says. She needed something. She's going to wait. I was busy doing and finishing something else that was a little bit more important than give her an information. She doesn't need it in the next 15 minutes. But that triggered people when I said, and I will continue to say that until my last breath, I will respect everybody from the top of the cream to the so invisible, quote unquote, people. Because they're not invisible to me. They are visible. And like I said to people, you know what? One day you're going to need maybe the cleaning person right there to help you to do something, and that person will help you. Why? Because you've been polite and you had a quick chat. I always make sure of that. And that did trigger a lot of people. So realize what you want in your life. Realize that if you want to become a leader, if you want in the company where you are, start to educate yourself. Look if you can get money, and check in the chart on this one, actually. If there is any money allowance for people to, attend classes. And do the coaching classes, and not the cheap one around the blog that teach you nothing. I'm talking good classes who you can check online for reviews. But take those classes to continue to educate yourself. Because a lot of people think that, I'm going to take a module that I have at work. No, take external classes. Educate yourself. Get involved on a lot of things that will bring you that education. Because that is essential. Those classes then you can attend for free, or some will be, you're going to pay some, but make sure that you get reimbursed. Make it sure you learn. So you put this in a curriculum and people can understand, that person is learning this and that. Well, let's see what else it's learning. So that's mean you're getting the tools. You're getting everything you need to be prepared to become. And maybe it's not going to be in that business. Maybe it's not going to be where you're working. Then you're going to become a manager. Maybe it's going to be a different business somewhere you're going to apply and you're going to become one. You never know. But educate yourself. See what you really want to do. And if you really, really, really think I'm a best leader, well, humble yourself and go and check it out. Learn from others. I have spent my working time learning from everybody. That's what I do. I'm a sponge. I'm curious. So I ask people, why do you do this? Why do you do that? And I learn from everybody. There is always something to learn. Even learn not what to do, which is even better. But you have to be curious. Be open-minded. Your way is not always the highway. Learn that everybody works a different way. Everybody are at a different level in their lives. I know it's kind of hard when you become on management level, you end up becoming a babysitter as well. But be fair to everybody. Don't have a clique. Connect with everybody, even the least person you feel you have affinity with. Get that going. And if you really want that position, then you have options. Or you start your own business and be your own boss, because you could be as well. I said it in 2003, I'm going to be my own boss. And I am my own boss. I walked away from the uncertainty of some of the corporate world. And I did not do it for the purpose of, I'm going to be special. It's because I felt the drive, I felt the need to be who I am. And no matter what, the universe was kicking my ass out of corporate world, no matter what. So it's like, okay, you got a destiny, you got to do something in your life, and you make it happen. You're not here to continue to cling into position that brought me nowhere. I learned a lot. I learned a lot from different corporations, how they work, which is nice because I had a huge diversity and understanding, and I talked to thousands of people and understanding how every piece of the puzzle for that company works, how the department works, how things are working at every level, which has been phenomenal because I can now reuse what I have learned throughout the years. Plus, I did a certification later on, which I already was for 20 years on the Six Sigma, lean manufacturing, and everything else, process reengineering, blah, blah, blah. I learned all of this as I was doing it. It's just a matter to pass all of the certification at the end of the day. But it's very empowering when you start to learn and said, okay, where are my limitations? What do I need to work on? Not based on what HR or the year-end review is telling me. Because you know what? It's non-biased here. There are not biased when in regard of you. A lot of people will backstab you at the year-end and they give you some false review and whatever the deal is. I've seen at the worst. I've seen people blocking me because, we did not do it this year because, you're doing fantastic, but we wanted somebody else's to get that little incentive and that extra money. So maybe next year, but yeah, that got been told in my face. And I was like, well, what do I care? Thank God I wasn't looking for that because I know that it works with the clique and who you prefer have that happening. I have learned to be more neutral and looking at exactly what people are doing, not based on if I like them or not. I had done in the past, actually, people I had no affinity with, and I give them the best review. Why? Because they did their job the way they were supposed to. It doesn't mean it's about personality. It's about the job, being fair. And a lot of people don't know how to do this because they are not biased. They're not going to be looking. They're emotional. Remove your emotions out of the equations, and that's how you're becoming successful. Remove the emotion. Every time I had a catastrophe happening at work or hot potatoes being flying left and right or coming my way, I never lost my crap. I had somebody who had literally a meltdown. And I said a meltdown like she was ready to call off everything because, oh my God, the contract wasn't signed on Friday and the project was starting on Monday, blah, 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 blah. And we were Wednesday. Okay? And I told her, I said, let me fix this. And I did talk to the legal department, who I knew were going down and like, they were furious. And I'm like, yep. So I took the hit and I was like, I know. I talked to them, blah, blah, blah. We need to do an education. And I installed to have classes down for everybody, anyone around the entire company, actually, to be, what do you call it? It's not legal. It's, I forgot in English, so that's okay. That probably will come back later on. But to be able to do this and not getting in trouble because of the Sunshine Law. Yeah, if you know what the Sunshine Law is, you know what I'm talking about. Be compliant. Thank you. It was being compliant. Thank you, universe, for that. But the person had a freaking meltdown. And I'm like, okay. And I had to calm her down, not only at work, but I had her number. So when I talked to her on Wednesday night, she had a freaking meltdown, even worse than the one she did it earlier. And I said to her, okay, well, here's the sign. If Emma said, we're okay, that means this will be signed, done by Friday. Signed, ready to go by Monday. Okay? I said, if Emma said, it's time to run for the hills, then it's time to run for the hills. And it wasn't. Because within 24 hours, I got, unfortunately, those guys, my God, I remember that. It's like, they love me, but they hate it because they always sent me the difficult case too to deal with it. Even, so I tell you something, when legal sent you a bunch of people they don't want to deal with, but you have to deal with, this is not a good sign. So, got the contract, signed on Friday by everybody. So, it gave them not even 48 hours to turn things around. They were mad. And she was amazed and said, I don't know how do you do it. And then, well, this is the difference between you and me. I do not add emotion in there. What I do is remove the emotion, bring the analytic side of me and said, okay, it's a puzzle here. How can we fix this? And you don't put your emotions. If you put the emotion, it's like basically poisoning the well. You're going nowhere because you're freaking out and everything goes the wrong way. When you remove the emotions, then this is where you see the bigger pictures. And I always done that for when I was managing people to make sure there were a sense of fairness. Because people would come a month before their review and all of a sudden start to kiss your shoes. And you're like, why are you friend with me in a month? Why? Because the review's coming up, so you're going to be nice to me? I said, no, that's not happening. I'm looking at performance. I had people who hated my guts. And I left one company and, oh yeah, they were happy. A week later, one of them said, and the others agree, I miss Emma. I would never believe I would say that. Why? Because I was fair to them. Even though I was a tough cookie to them, they knew they could not trick me, but they knew I was fair. That's the difference. So think, if you want to become a leader, if you want to become a manager, educate yourself. Because if your ego is telling you you're the best in the world, then you're not. Learn, take classes, and see where you are and get real feedback from professional, not internal of the company, because some of the company will not want to promote you because one, they feel like if you leave that position, you're not, nobody else is going to fill that position, or you get somebody above you who's so threatened by you, they think you want their job. So be honest with your own self, see where you want to be with all of this and move along. This was our podcast for today. We're going to talk about our next podcast. I have no idea because today is Monday and I'm going to continue on my way. I love to do my podcast. This is something that I missed during my dark night of the soul last year. I could not share anything and I could not open my mouth. I had too much to deal with. The chaos that came upon me, but we are back on and I'm very, very happy to be here 3 times a week. I love those podcasts and I hope it will inspire you guys to do something for your own self, because trust me, you don't need to be a billionaire to be a billionaire. You have to start somewhere. Everybody can do it. All my love, guys, and I will talk to you later. Bye now.
Where do we go from here?
Emma's Universe Podcast.
Where do we go from here?
Universe Podcast. Universe Podcast.